Let me just start by saying this: if anyone ever tells you you'll look back and laugh at your wedding day, I promise you, I won't. Because I caught my wife cheating on me during our own damn wedding. I, 31M, married Ava, 29F, last month. We'd been together for 3 years. She was smart, beautiful, and passionate. At least, that's the version of her I thought I knew. We had no kids, just a dog, and a dream of traveling before settling down. The wedding was picture perfect. Venue by the lake, rustic barn theme, golden sunset. Our guests looked amazing, the food was fire, and the open bar was dangerously generous. My best friend since college, Nate, 32M, was my best man. This guy had been through everything with me: bad breakups, job losses, even bailed me out once when I got stranded overseas. The idea that he would become part of this story still makes me want to throw up. Everything went smoothly during the ceremony. Ava looked stunning in her dress. Her vows were emotional, her smile was radiant. But I realize now, she's just a really, really good actress. After the first dance and all the main events, I noticed Ava was gone for a while. I wasn't super alarmed, people get pulled away at weddings. But then I couldn't find Nate either. I was already a little drunk, not gonna lie, but something felt off. I went looking. That's when I walked past one of the old storage rooms near the back of the venue. The door wasn't fully closed. And that's when I saw them. Ava. Nate. Half naked. In a closet. At our wedding. I stood there frozen. I couldn't speak. Ava saw me and immediately burst into the shrieking mess of fake crying and panicked babbling. It's not what it looks like. You don't understand. You've been so distant. It was just a moment. She started screaming at me like somehow I was the villain for walking in. Nate stood there silent, pants around his ankles, staring at the floor like a damn coward. I didn't punch anyone. I didn't yell. I just walked out and sat in my car for 2 hours while the guests danced under fairy lights and lies. So after catching my brand new wife hooking up with my best man at our wedding, I did what any sane person would do. I left. I didn't scream. I didn't punch Nate. I didn't cause a scene. I just walked out and sat in my car in complete silence for 2 hours, trying to process what I saw. I thought that would be the end of it. That I'd call a lawyer in the morning and the whole nightmare would start moving toward closure. But Ava wasn't done. Apparently, while I was sitting in my car trying not to vomit, Ava was inside spinning an entirely new version of reality. By the time I got home later that night, my phone was blowing up: texts, missed calls, DMs from friends and family. Here's what she told everyone. He just left me at the wedding. He ran off with some other woman. He's been emotionally distant for months. I thought he was cheating. I broke down and needed comfort. Nate was just there for me emotionally. He made me feel unwanted. I couldn't believe it. She cheated on me, and now I was the villain? Even her maid of honor texted me. Why would you humiliate her like this? At least talk to her before walking out like a coward. Coward? Let me tell you something, walking away from the woman you just married while she's screwing your best friend in a storage closet is not cowardly. It's survival. You ever read something that makes your stomach drop? When I opened Ava's phone that morning, I figured I'd see a few flirty texts. Maybe something from the week leading up to the wedding. What I didn't expect was 6 months of messages between her and Nate, my so-called best friend. I started scrolling. The texts were all there. Thousands of them. And not just emotional comfort like they tried to claim. No. These two were having a full-blown emotional and physical affair for half a year while I was planning our wedding. Here's just a taste of what I saw. Ava, you know I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think he was pulling away. Nate, you deserve to be worshipped. He doesn't even see you anymore. Ava, we could just run away. I wish it was you waiting at the altar. Nate, just say the word, and I'll stop the wedding myself. They even joked about the vows. Yes. While I was writing vows about forever, Nate was sending her this. I swear, if I hear him call you my one and only on that altar, I might throw up. And she laughed. Replied. Let's see if he still says it after tonight, winking face. That was 2 days before the wedding. I was floored. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. But it didn't stop there. They had pictures. Private stuff. Hotel receipts. Voice notes. Even discussed what to say if anyone ever found out. Here's the kicker though, and this is what made me almost throw the phone across the room. They had a code name for me in their texts. They called me the landlord. Why? Because, in Ava's words, he provides everything but doesn't touch his own property. That one broke me. I packed a bag and left immediately. Didn't even tell her. I just walked out, blocked her number, and went straight to my brother's place. That night, she sent me over 30 messages. Ranged from, I made a mistake, to, you're blowing this out of proportion, to, you abandoned me at the wedding. That's emotional abuse. Yeah. She still tried to make herself the victim. But I wasn't falling for it anymore. And neither was someone else, someone who knew more about Nate and Ava than I ever imagined. About 2 days after I left Ava, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Normally I wouldn't answer, but I was in full detective mode at this point. I picked up. Hi, is this my name? I hesitated. Yeah, who's this? This is Tessa. I used to date Nate. Boom. I remembered her. They were together for, 4 years. I even helped Nate pick out a necklace for her birthday 1 year. He said she got too clingy and broke it off. Well, Tessa had a very different version of events. And when I say this woman came with receipts, I mean screenshots, photos, emails, and a timeline that went back way before Ava and I got engaged. She told me she suspected Nate was cheating on her in the last few months of their relationship, but never had hard proof. That is, until she snooped through an old cloud backup after hearing about my wedding disaster from mutual friends. What she found? Messages from Ava and Nate going back a year. Ava saying she was in love with someone she wasn't supposed to be. Nate responding, if you were mine, I'd marry you right. Not like he will. Conversations where they mocked my job, my routines, and even my proposal. Yes. The proposal I planned for 3 months and pulled off during a vacation to Costa Rica? They laughed about it. Ava, he thinks a view and a ring fixes everything. Nate, I'd propose to you in bed. No audience, no lies. Wanna know when that message was sent? The day after I proposed. They were already hooking up. Already fantasizing about replacing me. Tessa told me she stayed quiet for so long because she was embarrassed. But once word got around about the wedding disaster, she felt I deserved to know the full truth. And I did. But it wasn't just about what happened, it was about what was coming next. Because Nate and Ava? They were already trying to spin the story. Tessa sent me a screenshot from Nate's Instagram DMs to a friend. He's unraveling. If we play this right, we can flip it on him. Make him look unstable. Ava can say he was abusive. Abusive. I've never laid a hand on her. Never raised my voice in a way that would make someone fear me. My only crime was trusting 2 people I never should have let in. But now they were gearing up to ruin me publicly to save face. That's when I realized I had to go on the offensive. And I knew exactly where to start. So after everything I'd learned from the texts, from Ava's lies, and from Tessa, Nate's ex, I knew I had to confront them. But not in anger. Not screaming. I wanted to stay cold, calm, and armed with the truth. I decided to meet them on neutral ground. My brother offered to let us use his backyard. Cameras installed, everything recorded. I invited both Ava and Nate to talk things out one last time before the divorce paperwork went through. They both showed up. Nate walked in acting like he was walking into a therapy session, hands in his pockets, fake remorse plastered on his face. Ava came in, sunglasses on, arms folded, already irritated. She didn't say a word to me. I let them talk first. Nate mumbled something about things getting out of hand and feelings being complicated. Ava cut him off with this Oscar-worthy speech. "You weren't there for me emotionally. You were always busy. Always distracted. I was lonely. I made a mistake." She emphasized the word mistake like it was some kind of get-out-of-jail-free card. I calmly nodded. Then I pulled out a folder. Printed screenshots. Transcripts. Hotel invoices. Ava's messages to Nate mocking me. I slid them across the table. Told her she could keep the folder. Ava went pale. Then red. Then she snapped. "You had no right to go through my phone. You're controlling. You're violating my privacy. This is why I cheated. You're a psycho." Boom. Caught in 4K. All of it on camera. She got up, knocked over a chair, and screamed that I was abusing her emotionally right now. Nate just sat there like a deer in headlights. Didn't defend her. Didn't deny anything. I stood up and said, calmly, "I have video, audio, and written proof of everything. If you try to slander me or flip this, I'll bury you both legally." That shut them both up. But Ava, being Ava, tried one last desperate play. She screamed, "Fine. Maybe I did cheat. But you were cheating first. You slept with that girl from your office." "What? I've never cheated. Ever." I had no idea what she was even talking about. Apparently, she just picked a random coworker from my office, someone I helped train 6 months ago, and made up a whole affair on the spot. Complete fiction. And she said it with such conviction, Nate actually turned and gave me a dirty look. That's when I realized, she didn't care about truth anymore. She was going to throw everything at the wall and hope something stuck. But now that I had her freak out on camera, I had more than enough to protect myself in court. And I was going to war. After the meltdown I recorded, I handed everything to my lawyer, texts, voice notes, video of the confrontation. He said, "This is airtight. She'll fold." I thought that too. But then, Ava pulled something completely insane. 2 days after getting served the divorce papers, she checked herself into a mental health clinic and claimed she was emotionally unstable due to her husband's controlling behavior. Let that sink in. She cheated on me at our wedding with my best friend. She got exposed with receipts. She screamed like a banshee when confronted. And now she's trying to stall the divorce by pretending I'm the problem. My lawyer warned me this could be a move to delay proceedings or set up an insanity plea to avoid consequences. But it wasn't just legal delay tactics. No. She started a full-blown social media campaign while she was in the clinic. Her account, which she clearly still had access to, started posting vague, manipulative garbage like, "Healing is hard when the person who hurt you plays the victim. Sometimes, when a woman cries for help, the world calls her crazy. I made a mistake, but he was never really there for me anyway." Her friends, the ones who never liked me, were eating it up. I got DMs calling me cold, manipulative, and even narcissistic. Meanwhile, she was the one who plotted an affair with my best man for a year. But here's the thing. Remember the video I recorded in my brother's backyard? The screaming, the fake accusations, the whole chair flipping scene? I leaked it. I sent it to a few close friends who were being fed her victim narrative. One of them anonymously posted it in a group chat she was in. The reaction? Silence. Then messages started trickling in. "Dude. I had no idea. She's been lying to all of us? WTF Ava." Suddenly, her support dried up. Her pity party turned into damage control. Then Nate, spineless, fake remorse Nate, texted me for the first time in over a week. "You didn't have to go nuclear like that. We could have handled this privately." I left him on read. But Ava wasn't done. Not even close. Because right as the court set a date to proceed with the divorce despite her breakdown, she made another desperate move. One that involved a lawyer, a restraining order, and a claim that would have destroyed me if I didn't have proof she was lying. Just when I thought Ava couldn't sink any lower, she filed for a restraining order against me. Yep. I got a knock at my door from a local officer, who politely informed me that my wife was claiming I had been stalking, harassing, and threatening her since the day she checked into the clinic. She accused me of sending threatening texts I never did. Showing up at her safe spaces I hadn't even seen her. Destroying her reputation with edited videos, yep, the same video of her actual meltdown. This wasn't just a cheap stunt. She was seriously trying to screw me over legally. If that restraining order stuck, it would delay or even derail the divorce proceedings. Paint me as unstable in the eyes of the court. Possibly get me suspended from my job. I work in a corporate role with ethics policies. Luckily, my lawyer was already anticipating something like this. We immediately filed a response with full evidence. Timestamped security footage showing I hadn't left my apartment during the time she claimed I was following her. Screenshots proving I hadn't texted or called her at all since she checked into the clinic. A notarized witness statement from my brother confirming Ava's meltdown and verbal abuse. The full, unedited video of the confrontation that she claimed was doctored. Within 48 hours, the judge dismissed the restraining order completely. Ava didn't even show up to the hearing. Her lawyer came alone and looked mortified. Apparently, this wasn't the first time she tried something like this. I later found out, through Nate's ex again, Tessa, MVP of the century, that Ava had pulled a similar stunt on a guy she dated before me. That time, it ended with her being sued for defamation and quietly settling. The pieces were falling into place. But now that her fake victim story had collapsed, Ava made one last wild attempt to save herself. She called me from a blocked number at 2 a.m. I answered because I didn't recognize it. What I got was pure Ava, half sobbing, half furious. You ruined my life. I loved you. But you were never really a man. We could have fixed this. You didn't have to go public. You think you've won? Wait until court. You'll regret everything. I hung up, blocked the number, and reported the call to my attorney. But that wasn't the scariest part. The next day, I found a letter taped to my door. No envelope. Just a piece of paper, handwritten. The last sentence? If I can't have peace, neither will you. That handwritten letter on my door? Yeah, that was the final straw. I'd ignored the chaos long enough, trying to keep things civil, or at least quiet, while the divorce moved forward. But this? This was escalation. Thinly veiled threats taped to my front door in the middle of the night? Unacceptable. I filed a report immediately. The officer who came by was actually the same one who served Ava's restraining order paperwork, and when I explained everything, including the false accusations, the midnight call, and now this note, he took it seriously. The note was bagged as evidence. A request for a no-contact order was filed. And here's where things took a turn I wasn't ready for. They asked if I'd let them check my property's surveillance cameras. Of course I said yes. I had installed a doorbell cam and 2 side cameras right after the restraining order scare. I hadn't even reviewed the footage myself yet. They pulled the footage and found her. Ava. At 3:14 a.m., hoodie up, sunglasses on, walking up my driveway, glancing over her shoulder like she was in a damn spy movie. She taped the note to my door and walked off like nothing happened. But she made one huge mistake. She parked her car in view of the side cam. License plate clear as day. And guess who was in the passenger seat? Nate. I wasn't even shocked at that point. Just exhausted. 2 adults, caught cheating at their wedding, now pulling late-night scare tactics like teenagers. It was pathetic. But also dangerous. With that footage, the cops opened a harassment case. The no-contact order was approved and served within 24 hours. They were officially forbidden from coming near me, my job, or my home. But it didn't end there. Because a few days later, I got a call from a mutual friend who worked in Ava's lawyer's office. Apparently, Ava hadn't been honest with her attorney either. She failed to disclose the prior defamation threat from her ex. She forgot to mention the video of her meltdown. She told her lawyer I had digitally manipulated everything until the lawyer saw the raw footage. I'm told the attorney dropped her as a client shortly after. I confirmed it when I got a notice that she'd filed to represent herself in court. Yes. She's going to try to take me on a loan. Meanwhile, Nate? Radio silence. But I had a feeling he wasn't out of this story yet. Because Ava may have been spiraling, but she was about to take everyone down with her. At this point, I thought I'd seen it all. Cheating with my best friend on our wedding night? Check. Faking breakdowns, false restraining orders, harassment? Check. Taping threats to my door at 3 a.m.? Check. But then, I got a call from my bank. It wasn't fraud exactly, but something wasn't adding up. The bank rep flagged some suspicious transfers from my personal checking account, small enough to avoid notice, $150 here, $300 there, but frequent. Some were labeled as wedding expenses, others as retreat fees. Retreat fees? I hadn't booked any retreats. I started digging. Long story short, Ava had set up a Venmo-style transfer loop where she was sending money to an old PayPal account I didn't even know she still had access to. From there, the money was getting drained through a prepaid debit card, used under a fake name. Guess who was spotted using that card on camera at a spa in Sedona? Nate. Yep. Turns out, while she was still healing in the clinic, she and Nate had taken a weekend getaway to a fancy wellness resort, paid for with my money. I brought this straight to my lawyer. He was already in beast mode, but now? He was nuclear. We filed for financial misconduct as part of the divorce. That meant Ava would have to pay back every cent she stole. The court could now view her as a bad faith actor. She'd lose any possible claim to spousal support. But here's the kicker. When served with the updated filing, Ava lost it. She showed up at my workplace, violating the no-contact order, and demanded to talk privately. Security escorted her out. She started screaming in the parking lot, calling me a thief and a liar in front of my coworkers. Someone filmed it. It ended up on TikTok. She's now internet infamous as the wedding meltdown lady. And guess who DM'd me after that video blew up? Nate. This spineless clown messaged me a paragraph-long confession. I didn't know she was stealing from you. I thought you were done. I regret it all. She's not who I thought she was. I want to make things right. Dude. You had sex with my wife at our wedding. You don't get to make things right. But it gets even better. Nate also sent me screenshots of Ava texting another guy flirting, sending spicy photos, even asking if he wanted to go to Bali in July. So while pretending to be broken and fighting for her marriage, she was cheating on her affair partner too. It was betrayal inside betrayal wrapped in pure delusion. The day of the court hearing finally came. After everything Ava had pulled, cheating, lies, fake breakdowns, harassment, stealing, and playing the victim, I honestly expected her to flake or fake a seizure in the parking lot. Nope. She showed up. In full makeup, white blazer, crocodile tears already on standby. And yes, she was representing herself. Her lawyer dropped her after realizing she'd lied about half her story. So she walked into that courtroom thinking she could out-drama an entire legal team. Let me walk you through the highlights. The hearing. Her opening statement. She claimed I was a controlling narcissist who emotionally abandoned her, which led her to seek comfort in an old friend. No mention of the fact that this comfort happened literally during our wedding reception. The judge's response. Stone-faced. Then he asked, "Can you explain the video of you threatening your husband and flipping over patio furniture?" She stuttered and claimed it was taken out of context. The evidence. My lawyer calmly laid out a mountain of evidence. The video of the meltdown. Screenshots of her texts with Nate. Bank records of the stolen money. Footage of her trespassing and taping a threatening letter to my door. And the cherry on top, a TikTok clip of her screaming in my workplace parking lot. By the time we got to the financial misconduct, she was visibly shaking. Then came her response, which was to accuse me of deepfaking everything. Yes. Deepfakes. She tried to claim the videos were digitally altered to ruin her.